Oh, hey, we're live. Sorry. Welcome to Hang Out in the Crib. It's Wednesday night, and we have our usual crew here. We've got Disturbed God
Hello.
and Tito
Hello, everybody.
and Hefe.
Howdy, everybody.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the raid, Hellborn, and the prizes. Hella okay. So I'll share my screen and we'll get started. Okay. First bug fixes. The Spite might move to range based on random launch override weapon range, which is 97, rather than the range of weapons. And then fixed issue where deflection could prevent minimum damage from being applied to Harlock's Revenge. So I don't know if we've seen any revenges that were invulnerable, but hopefully that's been fixed.
Yeah, I've had much different results since the update as far as people hitting me with Harlock Revenges.
Okay. I was oppressing little guys all last week, so getting much damage anyway.
I see.
They just kept yapping, so I just kept hitting. Anyway, Hellborn starts tomorrow. So yeah. Targets. I guess we're expecting similar targets to the last raid. These fleets of Reaver ships that.
Yeah, the description didn't change at all for any of them. I don't know if they're going to change or not, except for the blitz target. Otherwise, these are verbatim what we saw, at least as far as the description goes, verbatim to what we saw last month.
Yeah, and
What's the
same
same number? I don't remember the number of the elite target. It was 105 or was another number?
I should double check. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a lot of people seem to be assuming it's the same target, but I guess we never know until we see it.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, last time with the elites, right? Once you sort of had the driving skill figured out, you know, elites were definitely the target to hit. You know, I heard of people doing them with even tigers, not needing hell wraiths.
What?
Right?
I mean, Chris did them with tigers, and he did it on one of our Friday shows. The Friday show during the raid, he did it with tigers. But supposedly there's some people out there that were able to do them with kudas. And I really don't think the hull is really the constraint. It's more the torpedoes that you have.
And
because
the
if you
driver.
don't, and the driver, yes, that's true, Chris. But I think the main thing, I mean, if Doom Rooster put that on the on the little briefing, not for bad drivers, that would be highly amusing to me. But I think more of it has to do with the range of the torpedoes more than anything. If you're okay to grind them out.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You need the 88 range torpedoes, and then sticks are pretty useless because they do so little concussive damage. They do all that corrosive damage, and they don't do anything.
Yeah, I was now double checking on the archive, and no, it was still level 105 on last month, but I didn't remember.
Okay.
So then again, you can step down, do A sets. Again, none of these targets are cooperative. They say not nearly as difficult, but again, you know, I would say do A sets until you kind of get the driving down, and then try and move up to the elites as quickly as you can.
Yeah, a lot of people last time had problems, especially with the faster subs, getting them to stack. Doing was towards the end of the raid was I only used a single sub. I just used one Hellwraith, with all fire twisters, and I had much better results than trying to use all 4 or 5 of them because of the stacking issues.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, and if you are using more than a fleet with more than one, and you see that you get that trouble, the best you can do is to just park them all in one corner and just play with one. It will save you a lot of damage.
So then the other thing, you've got this level 74 being a blitz target. So it doesn't count as a set, and I guess that means there's no bonus associated with that level 74.
That's correct.
No, you just get 600,000 for hitting it, but I don't know. Normally the average damage, if you were failing a bit, making mistake, was 1-2 coins. If the blitz is costing you 10 coins, likely in the Forsaken mission, I don't know who's going to do that.
Yeah, right. And that's going to be all about what's the minimum charge they're going to charge you for blitz, right? Because remember the 109s, start out 3, but like you said, Tito, it ended up at 10. I think a lot of people were willing to blitz a 109 for 3 coins, not nearly as many for 10. So, this level 74, I mean, the way I look at, points per coin, 1 coin or 2 coin for 600,000 points is all right. I think anything over 4 coin would be a ripoff for these blitz targets, but
2 coins the most I would spend on blitzing it, because then that would put 60 mil or 6 mil at costing $20. Not $20, 20 coins.
yeah.
And if you can do an S set target properly, let's say 5 coins, that's 6 mil. Not 6 mil. It's 4 mil, isn't it?
3 or 4 million. It'll be on the next slide.
But the total payout, it's 4 mil. I mean, what it goes down to is how much and how long does it take? Because if you need a bunch of points really quickly, like you're banging in the last hour of the raid, you realize you're going to be short, it could be worth it if that's the one prize you really want to get. But anything over 3, I wouldn't spend.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to have to accept that there's going to be some premium, right, for blitzing, right, because you're saving all that seat time. But yeah, just keep an eye on points per coin, I guess.
I don't know. I like to say that Jefe used to say normally, that if you have to pay to not play, there is no point.
I don't think I actually said that, but I've said I found it interesting that that people were paying not to play, which
Right, the game's supposed to be fun.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's so
I wasn't necessarily against it. I just found the whole idea to be interesting that, we were paying not to play, especially after at one point, I know a lot of people have it as their signature, that Harbin got on and said, or at least we're not charging you for skins and other little silly things in the game. But, yeah, it's just part of that thing that, I mean, I think people were, I don't know. It's probably a topic for another day, and we're getting off topic. But
yeah,
I mean, I could actually see a use for this if there was a like a legendary crew that really made it advantageous to hit with this target, and then it only charged you for what your repairs were or 1. But yeah, once they started getting to 10 and some silly stuff. Yeah, it's sort of that's paying not to play if you're paying 10 coins to do a 109. At least in my opinion.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, they killed the golden chicken, right?
Let's see what else we got. Then you got B sets and C sets for lower subs. Again, I'm not sure I'd take these hull recommendations at face value. I think it's a lot more about the driver and the torpedoes you've got.
Yeah, that's the most important. None of these sets, unless they have changed at least the TRC, can be done unless you have something with 88 range, and that is a Stitch, the new Twister, or the last one that everybody's using, the Sharon. But if you have something that is none of those three, don't get in mind that each time you try to hit, they are spotting you before and they are going to shoot you.
Yeah. I guess the other option here are Tide Seekers. I mean, if you went all the way through that last campaign, you should have built 2. I guess some people built them as Forsaken Mission tanks, but yeah, I did build 2 Tide Seekers that are basically anti-sub. So I don't know how well those will work, but I think my Hell Race are going to work better.
The only target we have is the River Armada, and the River Armada they do pretty good, but the problem is once we get here, because they changed it, those River Armadas and the targets we're hitting are not the same anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing, especially if you're lower level and you don't have the correct torpedoes, what I saw from everybody that the C set still had
Thermal.
They still had that thermal range that went out to 88, according to data mining. Still had the same range. So if you didn't have an 88 range torpedo, you're probably, like I said before, it's the torpedo and it's not the hull that really makes the big difference here. So even if you had, assault torpedoes or was a skirmish torpedo, you're still going to get in the range of their thermal. You're just taking less damage. I guess they're just afraid people are going to start autoing the C sets with their longer range stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know.
Okay. So those are the targets. Let's talk points, prizes. And you can see here the points for the new hull is pretty standard. 15 million for the hull, 9 million for the weapon, 6 million for the special. We've seen the last few raids. Points for the lower prizes are also pretty consistent with what we've seen.
Yeah, are mostly the same cost.
Yeah. You see, you got a sub path, and then you've got a basically a base defense launcher path. So,
yeah, I would point that for any that don't have it, the anti-pod launcher is it's a must taken if you don't have it yet.
Yep. All right, so we got a chart here with number of sets to get number of prizes. So, it looks like you got 8 elites and a little bit more to get the new top prizes. So. All right, limited components. You've got we haven't seen the blueprints, but we've seen stats, and FA was kind enough to post them up here. These are going to be available only for the first 48 hours. So the last 2 days of the raid, you will not be able to get these. I think our initial take on these is that you won't be missing much if you miss them.
Yeah,
So
I don't understand the urgency that they. I mean, it's completely confusing the way they did this. First, they limited the time. Then the blueprints aren't that good, and they made them very expensive. I don't quite understand the logic here.
So let's talk about them in a little bit of detail, right? You've got the armor, 1 million points for a piece of D5 armor. That price isn't too bad if the armor were good, but you get 10% slow resistance. So,
and I think it's also a 0.8 repair modifier, and it only fits on Conqueror hulls.
Yeah. And, there's other ways to get slow resist on Conqueror hulls. One way is agility system. There's a fair number of Conqueror hulls where you do want to put some evade on them. And then the other way is shielded tactical system will also give you slow resistance, along with tac field resistance. And really, I think one of the biggest problems is you can't mix stun resist with tac field resist, because those two specials I mentioned both have slow resist, if you follow me. And now this is just another way to get slow resist. That's not the one that you really want. I'd like to see tactical field resist more than slow resist, for example. Any other thoughts on this armor?
No, as you said, I don't like them at all. And honestly, the repair efficiency is badly, and it's just increasing the amount of hours you're going to take on your fleet if you put them on. So there is to a point that I'm not sure if you necessarily need this. Get in mind that, for example, most of the hulls that are conquerors, if they have a slow resistance, is already on the 50s. So you're just adding a 5% more the first time, and then it's diminishing. So not sure if you want it. Not even that. I think it's 2.5.
Yeah, the only reason I would get these is Kixeye's habit of releasing something that's underpowered, and then they keep on changing the stats afterwards to make it more desirable.
Yeah, and if somebody
And
wants
they
it,
limit-
since it's on the locked one of the stores, get in mind that if you already have the prices from the sub site, let's say, just get the special on one of those, and you are good to open the locked store and get this if you are rushing for it. So you just need to get 6 minions first, and then you can start to focus on this if you want these prices at all.
You sure about that?
Well, 6 million is only going to get you one of each one of these. These are limited.
No. If you get 6 millions, you get the special, the newest special, and once you get that, you open the lock store. Once you get one of the, so to get 6 millions, and after that, the first millions you can get the Syntonite armor, and if you get the 5 millions, you can get the deflection upgrade.
Yeah, but can you take the special first, or do you have to take the hull, the weapon, and then the special?
There is no order. At least for me, on the last race has been like this. I have been able to choose the one I want.
Okay.
So if somebody's rushing to get this because they only are going to be there for 24 hours.
Yeah.
I would not rush, to be honest, but if somebody wants them, that's the way.
Yeah. So let's talk about this deflection upgrade. So it's a special, and it's not for Conqueror or Defender hulls, only on kind of your open water hulls. And it's 10% armor weight and only 20 deflection.
I think the penalty is too high for the opponents you are taking.
Yeah, and maybe they're going to open up those halls. We're going to start seeing 7 and 8 special halls based on what I've seen here.
Yeah, I mean, this is just only... I mean, 20 deflection is better than not having 20 deflection, but taking up a special slot for this, especially even on your 5 special, tank builds or whatever, you're not really hunting around for a special to fill that slot. You usually want to fill them all, and I think you've got better options than this.
Yeah, especially at 5 million each.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, like I said before, the only reason I would pick one up is in hopes that they realize that they missed the boat, so to speak, and change these dramatically, like adding a percentage behind them or adding a 0 behind them. Then it starts to make sense. But at just 20, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'd like to see at least 100.
Yeah.
All right.
Craziness.
Yep.
Yeah, 100 or 50, but to put on a special, the same that you get, just placing one armor, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Unlock store. FA put red arrows next to the ones that he thought was overpriced. Obviously, you've got tokens. Again, 5.5 days of tokens or so are available. Harlock's Tideseeker, I think.
This one surprised me, the cost. I was expecting a 50 millions, likely that Basago Punisher. So when I saw 20 millions, I looked at it twice, thinking it's a typo over there, or it's going to be just 20 millions.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, this is going to reveal phantoms on the map, right?
It's probably going to be a 3-week build time there for the shell, considering the Zoe's Apollo and the Harlock Citadel.
Fair enough.
I have the slide. It's not that long. I don't know. We'll get to that. Let me see. I will. 14 days, 14 hours.
Only 2 weeks. Okay, that's better. That's still a full ship build compared to other hulls.
Yeah, and just remember that this only spots subs if you have it selected. Not just keeping it on the map is going to make you see the phantom. So don't get it either on the map and think that you're going to see everything around you, because you will get surprises.
We have another slide just on that one, because it has, and with this one it may be cheap-ish to buy. I think it's going to be more expensive to own, but we can get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
I thought the Stickster torpedo was priced $6 million for the sticks, $900,000 for the Sharon.
Yeah, clearly you need to get the Sharon, not the sticks. I mean,
yeah, at 7 times the price. I don't understand that one. Yep. The concussive Gatling gun. There's the reciprocator. There's the Garwood that people have. I mean,
if you don't have any of those, I'm not quite as. I don't think it's quite well.
It's overpriced. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't get it, but you're paying a premium to get this one.
Yeah, you're paying the same
based on what's worth
cost. The same cost they were costing in August, and the same cost nearly, or I think maybe the concussive Gatling gun is the only one that got a lower decrease, because normally weapons are 9 millions, but the rest of them nearly have the same price that the first day they came into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I still like that weapon. I don't think that one's quite as overpriced as you do, but
well,
all right.
Not that I dislike it. I just think relative to the value associated with other weapons that they're offering in the raid, since it sort of has a little bit of age on it, the 7.5 million I just found to be, it's not as crazy as the sticks. The sticks is just out of this world. But I just think it's overpriced. I think more like 4.5 would be a better number.
All right. Let's see. We got concussive upgrade, which, yeah, there's better options out there. Maybe 3 million's a little high. Heavy plating's good pickup for a lot of defensive hulls.
Yeah, and for the ones that don't get the new price and just can get the Enforcer. The Enforcer does a good work with that heavy plating.
Yep. Punisher, 12.5 million. I mean, that's what it cost when it was brand new. A bit high. I think they would have made a lot of low-level players happy if they had put that one around for 5 or 7.5 million.
Yeah, I was thinking 7.5 would have been a good price for that one as well.
Yeah. Arbalest.
I think that's a good price.
Yeah, that's still a useful weapon. And then nuke excels.
But
but if you need them, you should pay that 4 million if you don't have them.
I think that one got an increase, because I think it was 900 on the rating which they released the Apollo first time. I think that was the 900 weapon price.
I don't know, but it's pretty key for any ballistic hull is to have those nuke excels. So it's kind of a must-have.
No, the Punisher Arbalest and nuclear accelerators. If you get one, you better get the 3.
Yeah.
So you get that extra speed and the range.
Yep.
Well, except for the Punisher, I mean, why would you? Well, we saw that the Antipode. We didn't really talk about. We've already shown the Antipode, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How much was that one? That one was
900.
900, yeah.
Yeah, 900, which is gonna buy if you don't have it. But let's say you get a Punisher. The nuclear accelerator is there because of the Punisher and the Arbalist. The Punisher is become limited as far as the FM. I'm not sure what the other roles that people have for it. I guess the
Mines.
Mines, there are
mine.
bases.
Yep.
But I mean, personally,
Tank.
I use the
And those that don't have the Apollos normally use it as tank for
I use it as a tank. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you. I use it as a tank at this point. I don't use it as as offensive. But if you get the Punisher and the Antipode, where you get the range and you can turn it into a tank if you don't have it, as opposed for 900,000, as opposed to buying the nuclear accelerator and the Arbalist for 5.1 million,
Yeah.
and you can just throw a speed upgrade on it, and you basically got the same thing for the same number of specials, and it fills the same purpose. So that's one of the reasons I put the nuke accelerator as expensive, because I can see the Arbalist still having a role in base defense and some other places, but I don't know that speed and the Arbalist are necessarily needed nowadays if you can have the Punisher and the Antipode. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I've known some players that built Antipode Punishers and done all right with them. That's if you want to build a Punisher for like the Drac bases or the Forsaken missions and stuff like that, yeah, or mines, you can use Antipode Punishers. So yeah.
Okay, should we move on?
Yeah. The Valiant. So what do you got? You got 10 weapon slots, 4 armor slots, 5 special slots, less armor than the
Vanquisher?
Vanquisher. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got the big thing about this is you can kind of pick your weapon. It's got range boosts for every weapon type. It's got deflection against every weapon type. And then it's got these damage and reload bonuses again for just about every weapon type. I don't see rad reload, but maybe you cut that off.
I can double check, but I don't think that I would. But let me double check and make sure I didn't mess things up.
So yeah, this is definitely a pick your weapon kind of haul. I like to make sure that in my base defense I use sort of a diverse set of damage types, especially with my turrets. And then, I keep a remote targeting missile ship and a remote targeting explosive ship. And then, I've got Vanquishers on the front line, so they're all doing radioactive. But, you can, if you're building one of these, I think you got to think real carefully about what's in your base and sort of what damage types you're missing.
Since that at the end, radioactive 50% as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I had the same thought that you did, as far as the fact that there's a lot of halls that people can use in their bases that they're better at doing. This is a multitasker, but there's a lot of them. Like, take an example. If we're gonna do, I wouldn't want to put mortars on this, because I could potentially use a Harlock Citadel or regular Citadel that has the remote targeting.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would want to use the missile, because I have multiple choices as far as missile damage. The radioactive, you got the same range as the Vanquisher. I don't know what you would do with rockets. I mean, that potentially could be a good one. So that leaves you with a couple. Because the ballistic range of 50 is greater than anything that's out there.
The Gamma that as well, actually.
It had 50 or 40?
50. The Gamma.
Okay. The Gamma had 50. Okay. So yeah, now you're left down to the concussive and the scattergun if you sort of have all these other things. So that's sort of how I was like focusing my ideas for the builds associated with it, based on the specialties of other hulls that could be used as.
Yeah, I haven't thought about this too much right yet, but the Calamity with its 102 range does certainly seem like a good option. That's pretty darn long range for a defensive hull.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that. I think the Calamity is going to be. I think it's going to be fairly important. They've made a lot. The big change that they made several changes in this haul from the preview.
Mm-hmm.
One was doubling the armor, and number two was there was no scattergun range bonus before, and also the missile and concussive ranges were +10 as opposed to +5. And the only other difference was I think it was the radioactive. All the damage type bonuses were +15 instead of +20.
Okay.
But
I'm
sorry,
a lot of people were talking about this combat speed and thinking that you might be able to use this as a prep ship. You think with the slightly reduced range, that's not quite the case anymore? That, max 102, I mean, what, you got the, which weapon? The concussive chain gun that has that secondary range that's pretty long. So maybe you'd still rather use those. What do you think?
I don't know. You may be able to use it, but not probably in the high-ending bases that have those demolishing weapons with so much range.
Yeah.
Because get in mind that I was trying and I couldn't make that combat speed go over 4, so you are going to be quite slow.
Yeah, you still need probably one of those wake tactical to drag it into range. Which is tricky if you're getting shot at.
Yeah, because
Right.
I think I got a boost of close to 400, but just 4. So I don't remember how much was given the tactical, but maybe you got 5 or 6. That combat speed of 1 limits you a lot.
Well, plus not a multiplier, so you get speed. I think it's been so long since I've tried one. Anyway, yeah. I mean, really, maybe you can get creative to try and be sneaky, but yeah, this is basically a base defense ship, and obviously these really good deflections. If you're up against Valiants, you're gonna have to look hard at your damage output and decide, make sure that your weapons that you're using are gonna do enough damage per hit to do some damage to the ship.
It's just a bonus. It's a bonus. It's a percentile bonus speed. No, it's not a plus adding.
Oh, it
the
is
tactical
still
check.
Okay. All right.
It's 30% more. So maybe you go 5, but at that speed,
Yeah, it's
you
still
better.
Okay. So anyway, one of the things I was looking at today is, how to finish a spite, right? And I was trying to decide between scorias and blades. Well, blades do a lot less damage per hit. Like less than half. So now the blades are going to be a lot less useful against these ships with penetrative deflection, for example.
I don't know. I think that in this kind of ship, you would put the kind of source of weapon or source of damage that your base lacks.
Yeah.
So they get that ace over there. Because maybe, yes, missiles is not, if you have executors, that they will not get there with revenges or stuff like that. They will have to go with furies, and they will have to go with retributions, other fleets. They cannot get there with vendettas. Sorry, what did I say? So you have then to build this fleet to kill that vendetta or to kill that fury, because that's the one that is going to be the tank.
Yep. Okay, ready to move on?
Sure.
All right, let's talk about the Calamity. Forsaken engineers have created a Calamity. Wait, scattergun. Okay. Add some weight, add some armor, add some repair time, so you've got a repair efficiency. And so yeah, you can see high damage output, so that's 2,700, but divided across 3 multi-shot. So what you do, 900.
900, yeah.
And then 1,350 concussive. So decent damage.
Yeah, I put the. Yeah, if you click one more time.
So yeah, so let's talk about, you can see it compared to the other scatterguns. Again, thank you, Hefe. This is a good chart. Looks like something I would do if I only had the time.
It's okay.
You've got, first of all, it's improved range, it's improved damage, split across fewer pellets. Okay, so that's important. Longer reload, similar splash, tighter spread. Equivalent accuracy, I always hesitate to make this above 100%. So,
Okay.
because you're not going to do more damage than you output.
Are you sure though? We could talk about that offline. I'm just curious if you potentially you could.
I don't think you can.
Okay, we can talk about it offline.
Okay. Nice weight, a little bit of armor, and then you can see the DPS comparison. So really punishing against fleets compared to previous scatterguns. Not quite as good against buildings as a heavy, but I mean it's really not fair to compare it against a heavy because you need that special slot for the heavy. So.
Yeah,
But it still does better per ton, because if you look at the weight on the heavies, it's more than 3 times.
Yep. So it does great damage per ton. So this is the new scattergun that makes all the other scatterguns bullshit, basically. Right?
Pretty much. I don't see. I mean, it doesn't have like a little special trick that it does. The rest of them do a little trick.
Yeah.
Combat speed, resistance, the little explosive death weapon on the conflagration. So it really depends on how are you going to use it.
But look, I've got 1 Fury left that still needs weapons, and why would I not put the Calamity on it?
I mean, when I first saw it, why don't I put this on my Tideseeker? I'm going to have to look at that too. Because it does, it's not on this one, but it's on the original blueprint. It does all this damage fully submerged as well.
And it has the big concussive damage boost from the Tideseeker.
Yeah, which is good and bad, because a lot of the stuff that you're going to be sub-hunting has got that huge concussive, but it's also got the corrosive, and nobody's running around with corrosive on their Hellrays.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
See what the rock's cooking.
Do you just smell it?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about the Calamity?
We're going to talk a little bit more on the next slide.
Okay. All right, so compressed corrosion canisters, or the Triple C.
Yes.
Triple H? We're talking about wrestling? This is Triple C.
Well, we did bring up The Rock a little while ago, so yeah,
Right.
Maybe we've got into like a little WWF thing here, but I'm not certain. Hopefully this won't continue.
We have exhausted my WWF knowledge, so we
Yeah,
can't talk anymore.
we're pretty much there with myself. So
Anyway, so this is a fair amount of weight, gives you a splash and corrosive damage bonus.
mhm.
Yeah, the splash damage is amazing, but I think that there is a very big use for this special, especially if you're using subs.
Yeah. Okay.
The power scatterguns one.
Yeah. So this is not bad when you look at it, but let's look at you got to look at the alternatives, right? So you've also got Heavy Barrel 3, which adds shots to your multi-shot.
Yeah, it goes from 3 to 5.
Yep, so it really increases your damage. And then you've got Advanced Concussive, which increases your reload.
Well, no. It does increase your reload, but the reload increase is only for concussive, and this is a primary corrosive weapon. But what it does do is it adds the 150 to your concussive damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since this is actually a corrosive weapon that does more concussive damage, it's more advantageous, at least is the way I read it.
Yeah. The thing you got to be careful though, Advanced Concussive really is a long build. It's a 2.5-day special, I think. So it's a great special, but it's expensive to build, right? Down to the 12 hours of this Triple C. But yeah, so and then Hefe showed how that if you stack all 3 of them, now you're doing a fuck ton of damage. Did I say that aloud? It's a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think somebody heard it. But we're the late night show, as George says.
Yes,
but,
we're the late night show. We swear a little bit. Cover your ears.
Yeah. And we had the girls on, so I think that's probably the other side. But on the picture below that, I show that you can stack all 3 of this. I don't own the Triple C, so it shows up as red, but I'm putting them all on the same hull.
Yeah.
And I used the Valiant as an example. I don't have a slide for that, but you can get all 3 of these and like cryo and maybe like a agility system and fill it full of calamities and still have quite a bit of room left over to throw some armor on it.
Yeah.
So
on those defensive hulls, right? You don't need an engine. It's got the handicaps. You don't build in any resistance. I mean, you really can load up on all 3 of these specials and have a decent build.
Yeah, hopefully if it works, they don't change something, because this almost looks wrong. It almost looks like they forgot to exclude something. The other one is the hydroxide barrels or hydroxide injector, which didn't fare as well as the heavy barrel, and it doesn't stack with the heavy barrel, so I removed that one as far as an option. Because it didn't, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Could you stack hydroxide with the other 2 instead of heavy barrel?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you just can't, because of the multi-shot, it doesn't stack.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else about these?
Yeah, the splash. Yeah, yep. I think we're good.
Yeah, splash is good. More range. Good against moving targets.
But it really makes it. It really makes the calamity
brutal.
Really brutal. Yeah.
I mean, look at your total damage versus your base. I mean, you've 2.5 times as much damage. Great.
Yeah, and I was able to throw the cryo battery on there as well, which I'm not sure how the cryo battery stacks with the glacial and the Wendigo and whatever else you can do with that. And the other thing that people may think about is potentially using one of the, because a lot of people were concerned about the field that the Valiant puts off as far as whether it triggers anything, but triggers any of the batteries or reciprocators or whatnot. But it's so heavy, and it's like 19% for that. It's 19 and 9, but a lot of them add combat speed, which you don't need, or turret defense. There's a lot of, or even just regular defense, because the Valiant can't take that either. So basically, what you get is like potentially make like a 30% damage boost, but we're talking here like, I forget the exact number, but like a 230% damage boost. It's a
Yeah.
whole different neighborhood.
Yep.
So,
All right. Cool. Harlock's Tide Seeker. Okay. Well, you can see it's got the same weapon and special configuration. Like you said before, 14.5-day build. So here's the biggie. Reveals submarines on the world map. And then when you see them, you got the 95 thermal range so that you can fight them effectively. Right? And you've got weapons like the Garwood so that you can actually shoot at them at that range. Right? Garwood will give you, 88 range, I guess. It's got the some range here. But again, huge amount of damage. Explosive and concussive defense. You can also notice that this does not have a defense handicap like a lot of these flagships had. But here's where you pay, and Hefe, you mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
Repair time, 6 hours, 40 minutes for just the bare hull. That is a long time. 24,000 armor, and got the repair time to match. So
yeah, it's one of 3 ships that has a repair efficiency of 1. The other 2 are besides the mega, which I'm not even, I don't get into mega ships or mega hulls. But the other 2 are the Harlock Citadel and the regular Citadel. Also have a repair efficiency of 1. But this one has got a lot more armor, base armor, than they do.
Yep. So, I mean, what you've got here, snipers have been a problem since the Phantom Nighthawk, right? The very first Phantom ship came out. And, it's fun to snipe and no fun to get sniped. And I always counseled against sniping because it's bad for business, as I like to say, but sometimes it is a valid tactic. And this is going to put a big damper on it, right? Because, again, it not only can see those subs, but it just might be able to kill them effectively. I guess in my one battle using regular Tide Seekers against Hellwraiths, I found I did not have enough space. So you gotta kind of look out for that, right? You start with speed 20. If you're gonna build this to kill subs, you really, really need to bump your speed. Whatever you can to bump your speed. So think about that. But this can be an effective sub killer, which has been tough to come by.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting in a lot of ways. I mean, especially, if anybody coins this on the first day that listens to the show, could you take a video of when you first take this thing out? Because I'm curious if all the people that have been banned over the years have all their Phantom ships sitting around, and we actually realize that all the water that we see is actually just filled with banned players with Phantom ships sitting around everywhere. I'm just curious by that. Once I saw this, I mean, they could have got removed from the map, but if the bases are still around, I don't know. I'm just curious what happens. It's sort of like an archaeological expedition in my mind, as far as what potentially we might see when this hull is introduced, as far as the wreckage that's found on the bus. So I could be wrong. There could be nothing, but I'd be curious to see it. If we might find Atlantis.
I don't think we're going to find Atlantis.
Whatever. Always a chance.
All right. You find the Kraken.
Let the guy go in.
But yeah, I think it's the only big disadvantage of this. I think the price is right at 20 million. The thermal range, you can't. 88's not going to be able to. 88 range torpedoes aren't going to be able to find the right angle to kill it. The only issue, and you can, help your buddies out to figure out if they're about to get ninja'd by a Phantom. The only potential issue is that repair time. So, but on the upside, this zombied, as far as we know.
That's true. You could zombie this and just so you could spot, spot those subs.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay, keep going.
Certainly.
All right, Kixeye Breakthroughs. So, last week we had the TLC with High Tide. Greengrass.
Yeah, it's still. I think it's still ongoing. It's still ongoing.
It was going till today, I think. I don't know if it's already over or not.
Yeah, they extended it because of some issue.
Right. Okay. Anyway, so if it's still available and you don't have it, go get the Tide Seeker. The first round is super easy.
I think it's over, at least for me. I don't see it anymore.
If you go all the way down to the bottom, it's available for 7 hours and 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
Must be for you, or because I have already finished it. I don't know, but I don't have it. But it's okay.
No, I finished it. But it's all the way down at the bottom because I completed it. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, Tito.
No, I did, but it's not there anymore. I have new sales here, but nothing else. They are offering EXP tokens, but that's the only thing new I have.
Okay. All right. Are you going to tell the story behind this this picture you sent me, Larry? Was this in was this in your house, or was it like at a neighbor's house?
No. This actually, I saw this on one of these clickbait things. And Hefe, I believe you found the real story behind this picture, which was they were trying a home remedy to remove a spray tan by bathing
bad
in
spray
lemons
tan. Yeah. And so they were moving, because you could see they have a little bit of like the orange skin that seems to be more fashionable now. And they decided to take a little bath together. They were both, I think one was Miss Washington or Miss Oregon, but it was a really failed TLC, the Learning Channel show. And, I decided...
Why. They apparently didn't have enough scenes like this.
Yeah. I think if they took the communal bath every show, there's a potential for it. That it would, in the future, it would, But no, the Learning Channel bought 12 episodes, but I think only showed 4 of them.
Well, that's a damn shame.
Yeah. I think the rest of them were shown in Australia, but I'm not certain.
Well, apparently they didn't have the right showrunner, because clearly he should have.
How did you know that was Australia? I don't see the Coriolis effect over there.
And pillow fights.
Yeah. What's the right pillow to have a pillow fight with? Shows like that we could really get behind. Is it unfair to put certain things in your pillow? Knock them out cold. There's, I don't know enough about pillow fights to really discuss it as well as probably these girls could.
Yep.
Or women, I'm sorry. Now with the new everything that's going on.
All right. Sorry, just change the screen on you.
Okay.
Go from bathing in lemons and vinegar to dude bathing in cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I think they had the same idea. I mean, I'm not
they don't
sure.
Look like they have spray tans they want to remove, though.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what these guys were up to, but they seem to have the same idea as those two girls did. And I was just trying to, I thought that was a breakthrough that they were able to, they were trying to help science and help people by, figuring out the acid and whatnot would remove the bad spray tan to keep them from being orange looking. But these guys decided that cheeseburgers might be able to do the same thing. And
I
They
think
certainly don't
I
have
thought,
a
I thought
spray
it was
tan.
dry skin. I thought it was because it was dry skin what they had, and they were adding some fat.
Yeah.
to fix
And
it.
does this
Fair
guy
enough.
look like the dude from LMFAO?
I mean, it's a wonderful picture. I mean, he's actually, even though it's been in this bathtub with these two. I'm assuming they got underwear on, but then he's got that half-eaten one right on his chest. I mean,
I'm gonna just eat this cheeseburger here.
yeah. It's like, oh, I'm gonna take 2 bites and then I'm gonna let it rest in my gut. I mean, it's a fascinating picture.
It's pretty hard. Like some of the base hitting issues they're having the last day or two. I know Disturbed One, you're pretty disturbed.
Yeah.
So, but it's been fixed. So I hear.
According to the people on the one of the mods, I can't remember if it was Specs. I think it was Specs that mentioned that issue had been fixed, and Doom Rooster said they were looking into it. So,
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposedly fixed. So that's a good thing.
Yep. All right, and just to avoid scarring you, we'll leave you with a young lady.
Yes.
Much better view of someone with a cheeseburger.
Yeah. We didn't want anybody to not want to eat cheeseburgers again after seeing that photo, so we threw this one in here as just like a public service type of thing.
I was going to say this one doesn't need the lemon bath, but okay, could be that
Yes.
as well.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
I think that's the end of the slides.
That's the end of the slides, and I'm going to have to run out of here in just a couple minutes, so I apologize. I will not be able to participate in the after show. But stop sharing. There we go.
All right, everybody. The people that would like to participate in the after show, sans Larry, I will post those in the chat on the right-hand side. And
We should end the show.
boom, buttons pushed, and they got 45 seconds to get on there before we end the show at 8 o'clock, and just be very timely. Because I know sometimes people are very upset if I let the show run over a little bit, which I don't quite understand.
All right, and I'm putting a link in our group chat, which, if I retyped it correctly, is the right link.
Oh, yeah. The other thing I forgot to announce, I put in, I'm not sure if it's the same thing, but if you go to the regular the Battle Pirates Crib site, I started up a group site that allows people to interact with us and talk. It just started a couple days ago, so there's not that much content associated with it. So if you go to the BPC site, you can see the link to it. I know a lot of people that I see on are part of it, but
Hi,
yeah,
guys.
it's just a place where it's just a place where people want to discuss whatever, any questions. It's there because before the site was configured differently. So
Join.
I'm sorry if I interrupted you. I'm sorry if I interrupted you, Larry.
No problem. Anyway, I got to roll. I did post a link in group chat. My son's TED Talk is up and live as of a half hour ago. So check it out. I think it's pretty good.
Good luck.
Okay.
All right. Have a great evening, everybody. I'm out of here.
Later.
Later. And we're signing off. Good night, Canada. And we will see you on Friday. Anybody else want to say goodbye?
I said goodbye later.
Okay. Good night, Canada and Spain.